Hi, Mark. Now, before I ask how you are, can we do what our producer tells us to do every week and that we forget about it most weeks?
You mean our Patreon page? So yeah, guys, we have a Patreon page. Yeah, do check it out. It's only £2.50 a month, and you do get early releases of the show, and you will get a shout out on the episode as well, which you will hear at the end of this one. So it's say only £2.50. You can't even buy a pint of beer for £2.50 these days. So yeah, do come and check it out.
And if you can buy a pint of beer at £2.50, please do tell us where you can buy a pint of beer for
Yeah,
£2.50.
absolutely. Because I'd like a pint for £2.50. But yeah.
Exactly. Okay, right. So, Mark, got two main stories that I wanted to have a chat about today.
Yeah.
And the first one, I know a lot of you that listen to this aren't wedding photographers as such, but
Yeah.
it's a wedding story, but it relates to any type of photography that you might be doing that features models, okay,
Mm.
or people in photos. So it's one that's worth listening to. And also, we're going to be talking about a very famous monument that I've mentioned a few times in this podcast. That by law that you're not actually allowed to take photos of.
Which I didn't know about. I didn't
World
know.
famous monument. Okay, and but we'll come on to that. But first off, okay, we're going to start with this story that's gone viral a little bit. Okay, and the headline reads: "Wedding photographer slammed after offering to edit pictures of the bride." And it says Reddit user responds saying there was absolutely no reason to show them pictures or give them advice or ask about editing on the wedding day. Now, obviously it's wedding season for a lot of photographers, but there's a lot of photographers that said that aren't in the wedding industry that
Yeah,
are
sorry
out
about that, guys.
yeah that are out shooting, whether they're doing a fashion shoot or they're doing a band shoot or they're doing a product shoot that features models and that type of thing. So I think everyone,
family
it would
family
probably
shots as
appeal to
well.
everyone.
Yeah,
And family shots as well. That's
family
right.
shots,
So
school shots. Yeah.
and I picked up this came through to me from the Independent newspaper, and it says, and I'm going to quote from it. It says, "A wedding photographer has been criticised for offering to edit photos of the bride on the big day." It said in a recent post shared to the popular "Am I the a-hole" Reddit forum, one woman asked if she was in the wrong for telling the bride the truth about how she looked on her wedding day. She noted that she's dabbled in photography and was considering making it a career. When her brother
Sorry, who
asked
who
her,
had dabbled in photography there? The bride.
yeah, I think so. She said, and was considering making it a career. I'm not sure that when I read that first time, I wasn't sure.
Okay.
It might be the bride.
Yeah.
And he said, when her brother asked her to photograph his wedding, she, of course, agreed to the opportunity. So it must have been the actual photographer we were talking about. So
Right.
it
Okay.
said, it says, now, while the photographer believed that the bride had stylistic choices that can sometimes be a bit wild. Okay,
Mhm.
now over the years, not again just talking about weddings, I've done shoots where we've used models where they've gone for a different type of look, say, okay, a bit more of a wild look for whatever it is. It says, but the photographer claimed that she doesn't judge at all. And it says the Reddit user then described details about the bride's wedding attire, specifically one look that didn't seem to be fitting for the nuptials. It says the bride showed the photographer her wedding makeup, and she had these vibrant green contact lenses on.
Okay.
Okay. And I can imagine they look great if you're doing a fashion shoot or a shoot
With
for a band or something. So
yeah.
they looked extremely reptilian on her due to it not matching her undertone. And when she showed me the picture, I told her she looked lovely, but the contacts weren't the best, the photographer explained.
Mm,
And according to the photographer, the bride seemed a bit offended
yeah.
about the comment made about the green contacts. She acknowledged that she offered to find her some more natural contacts, but the bride wasn't up for it. The woman also claimed she told the groom that the green contacts didn't look good on his bride. Okay, so the conversation was had obviously beforehand, before the wedding, so it was mentioned.
Mm.
And but it says on her wedding day, as I took the pictures, the contact lenses looked even worse, like a neon green light up sign. The photographer continued. So when the groom was free for a few moments, the photographer showed the groom the photos, and they called the bride over, and she seemed happy with the pictures, while the groom was a little bit iffy. So there it is. The photographer's taking the pictures of the bride and groom. The photographer isn't quite sure about these neon looking contact lenses, so she calls the bride over. She says to the bride, she calls the groom over, says, "I'm not sure." Groom says he's not sure. The bride says she really likes it. And it says when the bride asked how she looked, the photographer explained that she thought the bride looked stunning, but recommended making some changes to the pictures. But the bride became extremely upset by this suggestion. So obviously the bride said to the photographer, "Well, how do you think I look?" And the photographer replied, "Well, I think you look amazing. Perhaps just one thing, maybe the contacts I'm not 100% sure about." That's the conversation it seemed like it was had. So says, "I then asked if she'd like me to edit the contrast a bit in the pictures, and then the bride got extremely defensive and accused me of calling her ugly on her own wedding day. She concluded, of course, that was not my intention, but I left early to prevent a scene." And it says, in an edit to the post, the photographer clarified that she asked about the edits at the wedding itself because the bride wanted them as soon as possible on both the photography account and the bride's social media platforms. That's another story about people in their social media. And it says the Reddit poster added, "I didn't want to receive rude comments from our relatives." It says, "My followers or anything like that, but I also didn't want her to be edited without consent." So it said the post had gone viral quickly with more than 5,000 votes. And multiple people criticised the photographer for her comments about the green contacts, especially after the bride had already expressed that she wanted them for her big day. Giving her advice on pre-wedding was okay, one Reddit user wrote. There was absolutely no reason to show them pictures or give them advice or ask about editing on the actual wedding day.
Yeah.
That could have been safe for post-wedding and done a lot more tactfully. That's what it says.
Okay.
It says you expressed your opinion beforehand. You told her what it looked like, but the bride decided to go ahead with it. But you brought it up again on the wedding.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things to unpick here. So I'm guessing she's not the post, the original post, the OP is what they say now. The OP, the original poster. She doesn't strike me as sort of well-experienced professional wedding photographer. That comes to light right now. I don't think she meant any malice. I think maybe the bride saying, "Oh, you think I look ugly?" It was a tad over the top. However, I don't think the OP actually did herself any justice here, because basically it's something like contact. I mean, I'm assuming these green contacts aren't for sight. I think they're more of a fashion thing. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
I think that's the case here. And even if they are for sight, she's obviously chosen these neon green ones. Now, whether the photographer thinks they look odd or not is neither here nor there. That's what the bride has chosen. Now, to get the groom involved as well, I'd imagine this has been a conversation between the bride and groom a bit. And
I would have thought so. Yeah.
So, so the groom's kind of gone, well, even the photographer thinks this looks a bit dumb. So why are we doing it? Which kind of alienates the bride on her wedding day, which isn't great. Personally, I wouldn't have mentioned it at all. I think when it comes to something like that, it's obviously a creative choice that the bride has gone for, and whether you like it or not, you've just got to go with it. I mean, I'm sure in the past there has been some wedding dresses that you've thought, "Oh my god."
You could say that.
Yeah, but we would never say, of course not. Every bride is beautiful on their day, no matter what you think, because it's their day. Just because their taste is different to yours doesn't make you right or them not, and vice versa. It's their choice, and it's their creative choice or fashion choice or whatever you want to call it. So to me, this strikes as someone who's just inexperienced. I think an experienced photographer wouldn't have gone down this route, because I think he or she would have known about the pitfalls of going down this route. I think it's a bit different to normal editing. So there's editing that I do, like little bits of editing here and there when I do family shoots and weddings and all this kind of stuff. But it's not editing that people would notice. Do you know what I mean? It would enhance the photo, but it wouldn't necessarily be, oh, I've been edited there. Do you know what I mean? Because if people comment on that, then you've done too much editing, basically. Um, it's just little things. And she only mentioned, was it about the contrast or something, which is a basic edit, isn't it? But yeah, I don't think the photographer handled this too well, personally. I think it's different in a fashion shoot if you've got a brief and maybe, I don't know, let's say you're doing something with, I don't know, I'm picking a brand off the top line, though, Coca-Cola, which they're red, aren't they? Their sort of color is red, and if they had a different colored sort of contact lenses there, and they probably said, well, actually, that color doesn't go with the reds. That's something different. And plus, that model is being paid to do what you want to do. It's a different thing. Um, I've had I've had numerous occasions where you have it come to my studio, families come to my studio, and the mum and dad look, sort of like your average mum and dad. Do you know what I mean? They've got a little kid who's like your average kid, and then they've got the teenager who is all dressed in black with white makeup and going through their goth phase.
Mm.
Now that's who they are at that point in time. I would never say to them, oh, I don't think, because you got general shorts and t-shirt and then you have this goth, right? Obviously stands out. You would never say, no, I'm sorry, I think you should change because it doesn't look right for the photos. No, you just wouldn't do that because that's who they are at this moment in time. That's who that bride is. Now, in 20 years' time, she might regret the contacts, but that doesn't matter. It was her choice. It's her decision. And actually, that's on her. That's not on the photographer. And now it's become a problem for the photographer, I guess.
Yeah, I mean everything that you've said there, I totally agree with, and it's how would we approach it? Okay, so I agree with a lot of the comments that are said on Reddit. It was picked up on before the comment was made. That was it. That should be an end of. Okay, and so after the wedding, had there been an issue with the picture saying the bride said, "Oh, I don't like the green contacts," then the photographer could very easily have just said, well, I did express my concerns before the wedding, but I did express my concerns, but okay, we can perhaps maybe try to edit them. Okay,
yeah.
And I think it's fine beforehand. However, I'll tell you what I would have done on the day. I would have looked at the pictures, and first off, I would have been complimentary right from the outset.
Right from the outset.
Right, I'd have they you know what? They look amazing. I think these are great. I said, I would have said, now, even if I think they didn't look good, first of all,
you say something along the lines of, I've not seen anything like this before. That's the kind of tone you take, isn't it?
Yeah, and you have to get the model, whatever type of shoot that you're doing, or people, even if they're not models, but if you're out doing a shoot and it features people, whatever it is, okay, you've got to get them on your side, okay, and just say, wow, I think they look really cool, whatever. Now, if you've really got your reservations, okay, and then what I would have said was, look, we've got all these pictures. I think they look absolutely great. I think, I might not have said they look absolutely great. Got all the pictures. That's great. I said, do you fancy, how easy would it be for you to take your contacts out and doing a few without the contacts?
So they got both. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And, we've got 10 minutes to do some with and without, because then you've got that bit of choice and what you want to do with the images. Now, if the bride says, no, I'm really happy, I want to go with them, then that's it. You've covered yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. And she says afterwards, oh, I don't like the contacts. And then she says, oh, you should have said on the day. Then she hasn't got a leg to stand on because she chose to wear them. However, then you can say, well, one of the reasons why I suggested it because about doing some with and without was because, I wanted to give you that choice. That's why I asked you on the day, but you were happy that you wanted to go with it. So I think personally, I don't like to put blame on photographers, because photographers are, when you're in a certain situation, you're in a situation which sometimes you just go, you do the best in that certain situation. It's very easy after to say, I would have done this, I would have done that. I think you're right in the sense that I think it's probably a lack of experience here, because I think all the wrong things were being said. Right. It's consistently sort of, here's all the things, and showing the pictures as well, to and showing the picture to them on the day was the wrong thing to actually, was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, I think so. And to get the groom involved in that way, it just strikes me of lack of experience, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's right.
But
Yeah.
people make these mistakes and they won't make it again, I guess. I think it was, like I said at the beginning, I think overreaction on the bride, but I also think, yeah, the photographer could have handled it
Yeah.
quite a bit better than what they
Yeah.
did.
And I'm a big believer in you learn from the things that you do wrong or the things that don't go
Yeah.
100% the way you wanted them to. You learn more from your mistakes and sort of getting things right. And I think the photographer will have learned a huge lesson in this. And I think it's also a lesson for all of us and for people, that are listening to this, that have got any type of shoot coming up, is think it through what you're going to say, but always keep your subjects on your side. Okay.
Yeah.
Always give them the options, always give them an alternative option there and then. Hey, do you want to do some without? How easy would it be for you to take them out?
Yeah.
And if the bride had said, no, look, I'm going to have to go up to the room, it's all the way over there, I haven't got my case with me, no, I'm fine, I'm happy as I am, that's it. You've covered yourself.
That's it. You've done it. You absolutely done it. And by the way, I don't think this person, the OP, is necessarily an a-hole, because that's what it was.
No, not at all.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any malice here, which is what the bride went on to do. And that annoys me too, because it's actually someone trying to look out for the bride. Probably didn't do it in the best way, but nevertheless, intentions were good. And the bride's gone, oh, you say, and gone off on one. And there's probably said to a few people, this photographer's an a-hole. She called me ugly and all this kind of stuff, which is not what she did. I think that was over.
Yeah, and talking about trying to keep people on your side and making sure that you cover yourselves, as a photographer, I find I do this sort of quite regularly, but can't think of. There's lots of different scenarios. Let's just say that there were some shots that a client needed me to get on a shoot. You've got to get these pictures. We really need these pictures. If you don't manage to get them for whatever reason, and you're struggling, at some point during the day or at the shoot, whatever type of shoot it is bring it up with the client. Say, look, I've covered these shots. There's these couple of shots here. I'm just struggling to get these because of such and such. Okay. Yeah. And if you find that you get to the end and you've not done them, then again, go to the client and say, look, is there anything else that you need me to do? Shots, look, I've just not been able to get because of, and then I've left that shoot knowing that I've covered myself, so that afterwards they don't end up saying to you, why did you not do those pictures? Why, you should have told me, I would have made them happen. In other words, that you're sort of covering yourself for that. Now, when it comes to the bride with those contact lenses, okay, is saying, should we do some without? Okay, there's ways of going about these things, but always cover yourself at any shoot before you leave a shoot. If there's certain things that the client was expecting and you've not been able to do them, bring it up with the client, and the client will always say, look, that's fine, we've got more than enough of what we need, but you have to tell them, you have to sort of tell these things on the day and always cover yourselves. I think slightly moves away from what we're talking about, but it's still sort of related. So
yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
right,
should we grab a drink?
I think we shall.
Right, Mark, going back many podcasts ago, I brought up this story, and I have mentioned it. I think it's possibly maybe even before you joined.
I'm going to say, because I don't remember this.
Yeah,
I don't remember this.
Okay, so it all started with going back many years ago. I did a wedding shoot. I was at a wedding, and I took some pictures at quite a prestigious location in the country. I'm not going to say where it was, okay? And I did the pictures, and would you believe, probably about maybe 6-7 years later, okay, I had a call from somebody at this location, from the venue, years after the wedding. Now, I'd used these pictures on marketing a lot. Okay, and there's one picture in particular I used a lot in marketing, and in my own marketing. And this venue picked up on the fact that this picture I've been used for marketing was on the front cover of our brochure, which they had requested, from us. They wanted a batch of brochures that they could give out to people. Yeah. They wanted to recommend us. And I had this phone call, and it said, it was from the secretary. I'm phoning from such and such. I'm such and such's secretary, and he needs to have an urgent meeting with you. And I said, what's it to do with? And he said, well, we're not very happy about something. And I said, what's that? And they said, well, we've got some of your brochures, and you've taken, and one of those pictures has been taken at our venue in a location that is prohibited. You should not have been allowed to take that picture. So anyway, I panicked and a little bit. This sort of many years ago, but I did some research before I went into this meeting.
Yeah.
And what I did was I was taking this picture in what I thought was a public place. Okay. Yeah. So I looked into it, and I think I found something like a photography solicitor or one of the photography boards. It could have been the BIPP or some MPA, whatever, just to get some advice. They put me through to a specialist. Anyway, this guy said to me, no, you were perfectly within your rights to have done that picture. And as it happened, I was, because I was escorted as well while I was there on the premises. So the meeting that I had actually went fine. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I didn't jump over a fence with a bride and sneakily go and get some pictures. There was nothing like that at all. Okay. Anyway, during this conversation with this lawyer, okay, we'll say lawyer, no, it's solicitor and whatever, okay?
Legal person.
Yeah, legal person, right? Okay. he said to me that you were perfectly within your right to take that picture, okay? Because there were no signs, there was no prohibited, you were still in a public place because this place was open to the public.
Yeah.
And he said to me, there's one building in the world, or one monument, this was at the time, that you are not allowed to take photos of, that's copyrighted.
Wow. Okay.
Right. Now, that monument, shall we call it, was the Eiffel Tower.
You just cut out there.
Okay.
Repeat that.
It was the Eiffel Tower. Okay.
What? Okay. The Eiffel Tower?
Yeah,
I've seen that on so many pictures.
Apparently, at that time, you weren't allowed to take, nobody was allowed to take photos of the Eiffel Tower because it was copyrighted.
What year was this?
This has got to be going back. It's got to be going back 15 years ago now, when I had this conversation 10 years ago.
So if we can just elaborate on this. So, the amount of selfies and tourist photos that will have been taken of the Eiffel Tower, I'm guessing we're not really including those. I think, are we including, if you had a wedding, you were shooting a wedding, or you were doing a shoot of any description that included people in front of the Eiffel Tower, and you had that on your website as, look, I've done this, that's where the problem starts. Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I'm not going to say yes or no either way, because I don't know the legalities of it. I think it was it's something that went back years. So somebody might come back to me, that story that you're talking about, you haven't quite got it right, and I'll say no, that's fine, because I'm not 100% sure. It's going back a while ago, and I didn't look into the sort of the legalities of it or anything at the time. But I looked it up, and it was actually true. There was some truth in that. Now, this story has come up again. Okay, in one of the UK papers, but it's slightly different. Okay, because it says, the headline is, why it's illegal to photograph the Eiffel Tower at night, but not during the day.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So, and it says the Eiffel Tower, and I quote from, actually, it's the Metro. Okay, so we always like to quote our sources. It says the Eiffel Tower in Paris is one of the most photographed monuments in the world. What many people don't realize, however, is it's actually illegal to take pictures of the structure at night.
Right. Okay.
Even snapping a sneaky selfie with the illuminated tower in the background is technically breaking the law.
What?
Yeah. So it says this is because the lighting is officially classified as a work of art, and due to European copyright law remains under the domain of the late Pierre Bidot, the engineer who designed the current system, which was installed in 1985.
Right. Okay.
According to...
In 1980, sorry, just say that again. In 1985. I mean, this thing was built in the 1800s, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He
designed the current, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It says, designed the current system, which was installed in 1985. So they're talking about the actual lights, because the
lights.
It lights at night, doesn't it? Okay. It says, according to the Society of Exploitation of the Eiffel Tower, SETE, the building's operating company, anyone wanting to publish a photo of the tower at night should request permission, pay for rights, and then credit the artist appropriately. Otherwise, there's a risk of fine. So again, it says anyone wanting to publish a photo of the tower at night should request permission, pay for rights, and then credit the artist properly. The law,
Right,
however,
just
yeah,
I'm just going to look on Instagram.
yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
see how many pictures there are of the Eiffel Tower. Carry on, carry on.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it says the law, however, is mainly aimed at commercial use. So it's unlikely you'll get in trouble for taking photos for personal use. And I think that's where the whole thing really comes into. This is speaking to Condé Nast traveller, leisure and brand photographer Mark Noose. As previously said, we are talking about a monument photographed thousands of times per day. I still shoot it without mentioning anything, as everyone does, but I wouldn't take the risk by selling one taken at night. Taking pictures of the Eiffel Tower during totally fine, as the man who designed the structure, Gustav Eiffel, died in 1923, more than 100 years ago, so no copyright remains. Now, that's interesting, okay, because then what the guy told me at the time, many years ago, had expired. So it wasn't, the right information. It says, and caption the impressive view from the top of the tower is also okay, day or night. So it says the views from the Eiffel Tower are rights free. So you can go up to the top of the Eiffel Tower and take pictures from it, of views from the Eiffel Tower.
Okay.
So it says, and the Eiffel Tower.
If I may. Yeah. So obviously it doesn't give me sort of like pictures and how many pictures there are. But what I've gone to the tags. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you tag the Eiffel Tower in Instagram, there are 28.8 thousand posts of the Eiffel Tower.
Yep.
However, though, the Eiffel Tower at night, which is a tag, fewer than 100 posts, which is interesting. Now, it's kind of odd because, yeah, the Eiffel Tower at night, I mean, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 16 pictures. None of them are taken by me, by the way, so if anyone's listening. But yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? Because there are a lot of tags there with them on, and loads of selfies of people. Yeah, absolutely.
I know. So now on this story, there's actually only 3 comments that have come through from the actual story. So I'm just going to mention the 3 comments because it says here, somebody says, don't spread disinformation from the Tour Eiffel Paris, the official website of the Eiffel Tower. It says views of the Eiffel Tower taken by private individual for private use do not require prior agreement. It says, however, professionals must contact our teams who will inform them of the conditions of use governing images. So this sounds like it's coming from them. They've picked it up as well. It says, so views of the Eiffel Tower taken by private individuals for private use do not require agreement. So does that private use mean also putting it on Instagram, on their Instagram page? Is that private use?
Well, I guess if it's a private, I guess it depends on the page, doesn't it? So if I put it on as just Mark Benson, I don't pages on Instagram, by the way, then I think it would be fine. However, if I put it on my Time Punk Photography or Reach Photography websites, then in social media pages, then there'd be a problem, I guess.
And another comment says exactly. It says it's not illegal to take the photograph. Only if you publish it do you need to pay a copyright fee. Okay, it says the author of this article didn't need to seek permission, apparently. The photos were simply copied from Reuters and Getty, fully paid for, no doubt. So in other words, someone's just saying that you're showing a photo of it taken at night in your article. This is the Metro, and they've obviously got a copyrighted picture, that's been paid for and whatever. That's fine. So again, yes, take photos. I think it's all to do with if you're going to publish it and make some money out of it. That's really all it's to do. I think it's a bit of common sense, really, within that. Interesting article, nonetheless.
Yeah, I guess as well. I know that the official Eiffel Tower people, the people who look after it, I understand what they're saying. They're basically saying, no, this is silly. We're not going to stop people from taking selfies in front of the Eiffel Tower and stuff like that. However, I guess by law they can do, and I think that's the difference, isn't it? It's like, again, just going back to what I do in my studio. So by law, if you come into a shoot with me and I take the photographs, by law, I am the author of that work and I can put that on my website, no problem. However, I always put a disclaimer on there. If you really don't want me to, then I won't, obviously. But by law, I can do. So there is a bit of a difference, I guess. So by law, the Eiffel Tower people could go after everybody, I think.
Mm.
But they're not gonna because they know that's out of order, really.
Yeah.
It's just the way the law is, I guess. It's interpretation.
I like the story. It's a great quiz question. And
Yeah,
obviously, I became aware of it because I wanted to go into this meeting that I was very nervous about going into
yeah,
because at the time, and I did my research before going into the meeting. So if it had said to me, right, you weren't allowed to do it, blah blah blah, that I had that in my locker. I didn't need to bring it
yeah,
up, and I was said, actually, right,
yeah.
this is, and that actually turned out to be right. The meeting actually went
Went well.
well. It was something of nothing really.
Yeah.
Now, before we finish off, Mark, I just wanted to give a shout out to somebody,
Okay.
a retailer, Wex Photographic,
Okay.
here in the UK, and ending on a positive note because it's very easy to complain about things and and services and that type of thing, but
Yeah.
I wanted to give a shout out to them because they've 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 been really good about something, right? They've
Okay.
dealt with a query that I had in the last couple of days, and that query has been resolved sort of fully resolved, shall we say, while we've been recording this podcast. Okay?
Oh,
So
right. Okay.
what happened was a couple of days ago, we needed to purchase a new drone,
Yeah.
and we needed to purchase a new drone because we got a shoot coming up tomorrow, okay, and that we need to use the drone for this, okay,
Yeah.
and the one that we've got is no longer working. We needed to get a new one anyway. So we ordered this drone from Wex, and it was delivered. No, it was 3 days ago. Anyway, it was delivered the next day. No problem at all. Brand new drone. Yesterday, so this was the day after we received it. We opened the box up and we connected the drone up, registered online, but for some reason the drone wasn't activating. And so we went on to DJI, had a chat with them in their chat, and they said, yes, we can see what you're trying to do, and we can see that the drone isn't activating. You need to send it to us. So we just bought this drone, and DJI are saying, could you send the drone back to us because we need to have a look at it and investigate.
DJI are the drone people.
DJI are the drone people.
manufacturers.
Yeah. So we thought, hang on a minute, we've only just bought this. I'm going to go back to Wex. So I rang Wex, explained the situation to them, and I said, look, we've got to shoot, and we need it. And I said, can I send this back to you? And can you send me another one like today on the same day?
Yeah.
And they were saying, well, strictly speaking, we can't do that. You'd have to buy another drone because we need to get the one back from you. And I said, okay, so look, if I have to, I'm prepared to do that, but ideally I don't want to do that. And we had screenshots of the conversation that we had from DJI. So I sent those to Wex, and he received that while we were on the phone, and he said, I'll go and speak to my manager. His manager says, yeah, absolutely fine. We're going to send you a prepaid label, get it boxed up, send it back to us, and we're going to send another one out in the meantime.
Okay, well, that's good.
And during yesterday afternoon, we had 3 or 4 separate contacts. Okay, this was customer services at Wex, and the drone was sent back. While we've been recording the pod, the drone, the new one, the replacement one has been delivered, which is great. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Wex because their customer service was really good. They were very understanding. They were prepared to do something about it. It required me to do something. It required us to take it to the post office, get it sent, send them proof that we've actually sent it back, and do that. But it was done, and it was really swift. I had a couple of emails at the end of the day saying, look, you are going to receive another email saying it's been dispatched. If you don't receive it by 5:15, get back in touch and we'll make sure it's done. Anyway,
that's good.
Brilliant
service. Well done, Wex.
And I just, so thank you guys for that. And on that note, Mark,
talking about shout outs.
Yes.
So we have a few patrons to shout out. So yes. So Rob Percy, thank you very much. Craig Chuck, thank you as always. We've also got Frank Case. We've got Carl Sherville, Amara Zainab, and Nick Payne. Thank you also. All very, very much. Thank you.
And on that note, guys, we will see you next episode.
Certainly shall.
Cheers.
Bye for now.